The morning sun had just begun to crest the red cliffs when I opened my eyes, the taste of dust and blood still on my tongue. My body ached with the weight of the desert night, and for a moment, I couldn't remember where I was or why the air smelled of gunpowder and sage. Then I saw her. She sat a few feet away, her dark hair tangled with sand and her face streaked with dirt. Her eyes black as obsidian watched me with the wary stillness of a wolf. A bow rested across her knees, and the arrowhead pointed toward me, steady as the dawn. It all came back to me then. The ambush, the riders, the gunfire. The stagecoach I'd been guarding for the army had been taken apart by raiders on the Eastern Trail. I had thought her one of them at first, until I'd seen what they were doing, one of their own, bound, beaten, left to die for betraying them. I remembered cutting her loose just before the explosion that sent us both tumbling into the ravine. Now, somehow, we had both survived. She didn't speak for a long time, just studied me, deciding whether I was worth letting live. My side throbbed, something sharp had gone in deep and I could feel my shirt sticking to me with blood. She noticed it too. Without a word, she lowered the bow, tore a strip from her buckskin dress, and pressed it against my wound. Her touch was firm but careful. I tried to thank her, but she silenced me with a glance. "Save breath," she said, her voice rough and accented but clear. "You talk too much already." I couldn't help but laugh, though it hurt to do it. By the time the sun stood high, we had found shade beneath a rocky ledge. I watched her work with a knife that had seen many years, cutting bits of cloth, heating water over a small fire. She cleaned my wound, every motion efficient, unflinching. "What's your name?" I asked. She hesitated, then said, "Nadlihi." The way she said it had weight, a sound that carried more than just a name. "I'm Caleb," I said. "Caleb Turner." She nodded once, as if committing it to memory but not impressed. We didn't speak again for hours. The desert had a way of swallowing sound, leaving only the wind and the heartbeat in your ears. When she finally did speak again, it was to tell me that we needed to move before nightfall. "Why?" I asked. "We're safe here." "Safe nowhere," she said. "Men come. Your people, my people, both hunt." She was right. Soldiers would be searching for me, and her own band or the one that had turned against her might still be near. Whatever had made her their enemy, it wasn't something that could be forgiven. I managed to stand, leaning on a branch she cut for me to use as a crutch. We walked until the sky turned crimson. Every step was pain, but she never slowed. When I stumbled, she caught me under the arm, her strength surprising for her size. That night, we camped beside a dry creek bed. I woke once to find her crouched beside me, listening to something in the dark. Coyotes, maybe, or worse. When she noticed me watching, she didn't move away. Instead, she looked at me the way people look at something they don't quite understand but have decided to trust, for now. "Sleep," she said quietly. I did. In the days that followed, we made our way west, toward the mountains. She knew every cactus that held water, every root that could be eaten. I followed her lead, trying not to slow her down. At night, we shared the fire. She told me little, but what she did say came in small pieces that fit together slowly, like beads on a string. She had been born near the Gila River, raised among the Chiricahua. Her father had been a leader, her brother a warrior. When the Americans came with treaties and rifles, everything changed. Some of her people fought, others made peace. She had chosen neither. She had tried to protect a small band of children and elders who wanted only to survive. For that, She had been branded a traitor by both sides. When she finished telling me, she looked into the fire for a long time. "You rescue me," she said. "But I rescue you, too. Maybe we even now." I smiled. Maybe. Days turned into weeks. My wound healed enough that I could walk without the crutch. We reached a ridge overlooking a vast plain, where the wind carried the scent of pine and rain. From there, I could see Fort Stanton's flag in the distance, a white speck of civilization in a sea of wilderness. "That's where I'm headed," I said. "I can get you food, water, a horse. Maybe even safe passage north." She didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was soft but certain. "No safe for me," she said. "Your fort, not my world. You'll die out here alone." "Maybe," she said, "but it will be my death." Something in my chest tightened. I wanted to argue, to make her understand that there were people who would help her, but I realized how foolish that sounded. I was one of those people, and I had nearly died in the name of an army that burned villages and called it peace. We made camp again that night, knowing it might be the last we'd share. I lay awake listening to the crackle of the fire. The stars were so bright they hurt my eyes. When I finally drifted to sleep, I dreamed of running water, green fields, and laughter that didn't belong to me. Sometime before dawn, I felt movement beside me. My eyes opened, and there she was, kneeling close, her hand on my chest. For a moment I thought she was checking my wound again, but her face was different. There was something in her expression I hadn't seen before. Peace, maybe, or farewell. She looked at me as though memorizing my face. Then she whispered something in Apache, words I didn't understand but felt all the same. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead lightly against mine. When I woke again, the sun was rising and she was gone. I found my canteen full, my bandage changed, and a bundle of dried meat beside the ashes of the fire. Her footprints led down toward the ravine but vanished in the sand. I waited there all day, hoping she might return. When night came, I built another fire, though I knew she would not see it. At dawn, I started toward the fort. The men there asked questions, but I gave them few answers. They saw the bandages and the scars, and they made their own stories. I let them. Some said I'd been saved by angels, others that I'd gone mad from heat and solitude. Years later, when the wars were over and the land had been carved into ranches and towns, I still thought of her. Sometimes I'd catch sight of a hawk circling above the desert, and I'd imagine her out there, still walking, still free. I never learned what became of Nadlihi. Maybe she found her people again, or maybe she became part of the earth she loved so fiercely. But every time I felt the desert wind on my face, I remembered her words about rescue, about debt, about living and dying on your own terms. I went back once, long after. The ravine was still there, though the road had changed. I followed it until the sun began to set, and there, among the rocks, I found a carving in the stone. It was simple, a circle with two lines crossing through it, an Apache sign meaning balance. Beneath it, a single word in English, carved by a careful hand, even. I stood there for a long time, my throat tight, the world silent around me. When the stars came out, I lay down on the same earth where I had once nearly died. The wind moved through the canyons, carrying with it the sound of something ancient, something that felt like her laughter. And for the first time in many years, I slept without dreaming
of war or loss. Just of her, standing tall beneath the endless sky, the Apache woman I rescued who, in truth, had rescued me far more.